Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Sage X3 virtual event. We have a couple of presenters that we have here with us today. That's going to be part of the panel. And our main aim is to maybe not just entertain you, but we want to showcase a fair bit of the X3 world to you guys today. So right with that, I'll maybe just hand over to the agenda and see what's in store for us. So Alex is going to talk about awards that's been handed out by Sage to MicroChannel. And then also just from there, we're going to move across to Bruce to take us through the road ahead. And then Hugo and Mike will do some X3 tips and tricks for us. So with that being said, I'll hand over then to Alex Kelly there at Sage and take us through to the awards. Thanks, Alex.
Thank you, Stefan. Much appreciated. And good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us. I'm not going to take up too much of your time today. I really just wanted to spend a couple of moments saying congratulations to the team at MicroChannel. For those of you who don't know, MicroChannel were recently named our top business partner of the year for the 3rd year running, and they also won multiple awards across multiple product categories last year as well. So I think that's a huge testament to the fact that you guys are working with the best in the business. And again, just wanted to say a big thank you, I guess, to everyone involved in the Sage practice at MicroChannel, just for all the hard work they're putting into supporting our customers year by year. So with that, I'll take this opportunity to reintroduce Bruce. Bruce is going to take us through, or rather he's our product marketing manager for all things ERP, and he's going to take us through the path forward for X3. So over to you, Bruce.
Thank you, Alex. Welcome, everyone. My name is Bruce Minty. I'm the product marketing manager here at Sage. And thanks for your attendance today. We've got quite a bit to get through, so I'll hope to get through a lot of it in a small amount of time as possible. But again, quite a bit of content that I'd like to impart today. But I guess just to give you an idea before we head into the roadmap and the strategy of X3 going forward, I guess one of the main aspects of Sage X3, as we're aware, is that Sage X3 is the de facto choice for medium-sized product-centric organisations, offering unrivaled choice and powerful tailoring capabilities. Sage recognises the importance of a solid partnership with its customers, as always. We continue to make significant development investments in our X3 solution by embracing the best technology available today. And our goal is to help manufacturers and distributors and others to retain their competitive advantage through delivery of flexible, intuitive and tailored solutions. Our 3-year vision is to provide a comprehensive multi-company financials, powerful capabilities that support the needs of those, whether discrete or process manufacturers or complex distributors, and who operate across international borders, and managing those complex supply chains. So let's take a look now at the vision, the 3-year vision to provide a bit of an understanding of where X3 is headed. It's to provide that comprehensive multi-company financial and powerful capabilities to support the needs of those process and discrete manufacturers I mentioned and those distributors. And keeping in step with this, our vision is to focus on certain pillars. Firstly, being around strategic investment in targeted industry capabilities. Deliver new and enhanced functionality to support those ever-changing needs. In investing cloud technologies and capabilities that deliver those flexible cloud offerings and choice of deployment. And deliver those cloud-native capabilities and services that further enhance Sage X3. We also want to, make sure that we're, developing and enabling a powerful ISV ecosystem, and this is really, really important globally and also within this region, and provide customers with those industry-specific capabilities that extend the operational reach of core X3. And of course, as I mentioned, deliver to the needs of those product-centric organisations. And so, back in 2020, Sage conducted a research with Breaking Blue, and they're a research organisation. And just to understand some feedback from customers and why they chose X3. This research showed that tailored functionality is the major consideration for those product-centric organizations. And with that, there was a show of 44% of customers choosing Sage X3 because of this. So that's a pretty significant figure. 44% of customers chose Sage X3 due to its ability due to their ability to tailor that functionality ongoing. So that's a really key. And furthermore, 9 out of 10 Sage X3 customers, 8 out of 10 non-Sage X3 customers prioritize the ability to customize that software in their assessment when taking on new business software. So really, really important aspect that we want to continue to promote. So now let's just take a look at the strategic roadmap and give you a bit of an idea of what those pillars are and how it all fits together within the bigger, grander picture. And with that, I guess there's three main areas here around. We want to drive customers to the most recent versions of Sage X3. So, we really want to heavily promote the benefits of migrating to version 12. There's a lot of features and functions built into, more recent versions of X3, as we all know. And it's really important that customers stay on the current version to take advantage of those fantastic features. There's obviously, the target industry investment, as I mentioned before, and we want to deliver comprehensive cloud experiences for our customers. So as you can see, we've delivered things such as the automated test platform, automated data collection for distribution, which we continue to build on, and I'll talk about that a little later. Areas such as, GraphQL API framework, and furthermore, GraphQL API frameworks for sales and purchasing process mutations. When I talk about mutations, effectively, in GraphQL, there are traditionally two types of operations you can perform, we use those queries to fetch data, but we use mutations to modify server-side data. So that's the differentiation there. So continuation to deliver and extend upon our GraphQL APIs. We've delivered new product introduction capabilities within manufacturing. We want to extend that into project as well. So that's an ongoing development that we'll continue to improve on. Controlled sourcing and distribution for chemicals and food and beverage manufacturers and distributors. Shop floor execution systems and manufacturing execution systems for manufacturers. Project management and billing flexibility as well. So we continue to add to the strength of what we already have within X3, and further into recurring billing contracts, and further aspects around compliance, cloud integration, and multi-tenant clouds. And I'll talk about this a little later, but this just gives you an idea of some of those strategic roadmap focus points delivered and to be delivered on in X3. Let's now take a look at the release calendar for this region. Excuse me. And we are, as we're aware, committed to a quarterly release cadence. And so where we're at the moment, it's 2021 R2 has just recently been delivered in July, and then we look forward to October when 2021 R3 is to be delivered, and then we get into 2022 when January we deliver R4, and in 2022 R1 we look to deliver that in April 22. So we're very committed to this particular release cadence, as we find it is a good cadence for those organizations that are looking to upgrade. And there's plenty of new functions and features that you'll see in those upcoming releases. So I just wanted to touch on the release roadmap now. You'll notice there's a lot of content here. I won't go through all of it, of course, in the interest of time, but just to give you a bit of an idea of where this stands. We've got, as you'll note, there's the items in green that have been already delivered. So you'll see those in version 12 as you migrate, but looking forward into future releases, in prior releases we've released automated data collection for distribution. We delivered new product introduction, GraphQL APIs availability, as I mentioned. And then as we look forward into R3 in October, there'll be some new features built into the ADC module, for instance, such as directed picking and directed put away, and license plate number operations as well. So we want to overcome some of the existing telnet challenges, that telnet protocol. The benefit here is to provide, a valuable and secure shop floor execution automation through those streamlined processes, secured transactions, using encrypted communication protocols in there as well, within a new web-based user interface, that uses that adaptive design technology, for that better user experience. And transactions can be used by a third-party application within that site ecosystem, as it were. So then if we look into 2021 R2, we see other aspects around read API delivery for inventory. We look at controlled sourcing. Into 2021 R4, we've got the inclusion of read APIs for sales, and quality control and delivery returns for automated data collection as well. So there's a lot of features and functions built into just around the warehousing and distribution aspects. There's aspects of compliance and tax frameworks for other regions around finance and down payments and so forth. Local compliance needs that we'll always continue to deliver on as we are committed to. Furthermore, like even into warehousing, we look at so if we look at R4 for 2021. There's a series of new set of transactions that we're looking at, but also for data collection for warehousing, first set of transactions, and then further into April 2022, where further transactions will be delivered into 8EC. But just to give you an idea around serial number and quality control and stock counts, the challenge here was around traceability of serial numbers in and out of the warehouse. The tracking within the warehouse wasn't available, which would have led to multiple validations to know the whereabouts of a particular serialized item. The benefit in delivery of a better framework and better management of serialization within the warehouse is to ensure the traceability of serial numbers, to reduce supplementary tasks, to locate those serial numbers, and to effectively manage the tracking of serial numbers throughout that supply chain. So there's a lot of work being done around serialization, as you'll see, for future releases. Into the next area, if we look at manufacturing, project management, and HR and payroll, I mentioned about new product design. What we want to do here is extend on that to include prototype and approval management around there, and the management of allergens, and also in bill of material designs as well. R4 is the first phase of this feature development, which will deliver an approval tracking process and better prototype management and release to production functions as well in subsequent releases. So that's really important to cap off on that awesome MPI feature. But then we look at also new features and functions around web scheduling as well. So product campaigns and product setup matrices that optimize the sequence of product, and especially where you've got products with similar attributes and like features. So that reduces the setup time between those operations where there's a common attribute existing between those. So for instance, ensure that we paint all the white items first before we paint the grey items later on. So that reduces the cleanup time and the setup time for those particular machines. Into project management now, so there'll be performance enhancements for cost structure and task planning. We look at time billing. So the process is the same as the one used for progress billing. However, instead of billing by percentage of the progress, the billing is related to the amount of time entered that's billable. So we'll be looking at ways of being able to extend the flexibility of billing within projects. We want to look at delivering recurring billing as well, and contract management. So, with recurring billing, we want to make it possible to invoice an activity on a periodic basis from a project. For example, based on an overarching contract with a customer to raise associated income to the level of that particular project. So you would there, for instance, be able to bill a certain amount, invoice every month for a particular customer service that would be offered from the project. and with that also some further HR and payroll changes that more or less are regional changes for other regions such as Botswana and Swaziland and South African updates as well for their HR and payroll. So lots and lots of features coming down the pipeline for manufacturing projects as well. And then into the technical aspects of this particular roadmap, as we've seen, a lot of features have been delivered around the multi-tenant sandbox, automated test platform, as you saw in 2021 R1 release, through to Node.js, Syracuse Server, and compliance around Red Hat, Linux Red Hat 8.3. So the technical roadmap itself, looking forward, is driven by a couple of main themes. They're around compliance. You know, we want to integrate recently released components that we use, so it remains easy to get, you know, fast fixes when security threats are identified on these components. You know, as we can see, we expect to update the Node.js release in R2 and R3 to be compliant with, you know, future, also, you know, Red Hat versions as they land, and obviously be compatible with MongoDB 4.4 and MongoDB versions following on from that as well. And we want to plan to work on a common X3 engine and Syracuse server across several releases to effectively simplify the maintenance. Also, the other theme is around patching. We want to help our customers to follow, you know, a release in accordance with the lifecycle policy. And you know, many optimizations have been done, but we still want to improve this. We want to make sure that there's, you know, tooling in place to audit customizations and manage the update of parameter setups and customizations with Delta patching as well. And of course, one of the main features is the introduction of our new ATP testing tool, as I mentioned earlier. You know, and a feature that we released in R1, as I mentioned, for both customers and partners to test their customizations and prior to upgrading. So really, really important we continue to evolve that solution. And the last thing's around optimization and performance. Now, customers are constantly growing their databases, using more and more data. We want a platform that continues to scale better, and you know, several tasks can be done in parallel to allow this. So, you know, things such as engine optimization are planned on the runtime in future. We've got an application cluster mode where all the application servers access directly to the code, and that then thereby brings high availability and, of course, you know, increased performance. So we move into the target industry investment aspects or focus on manufacturing and distribution. I just wanted to touch on certain points here. ADC, as I mentioned, was introduced that address several challenges, mainly around limited user experience and lack of security in the cloud, current telnet protocols I mentioned before. We redeveloped this particular solution to deliver 20 distribution scenarios, 5 manufacturing scenarios, you know, shop floor tracking scenarios within an adaptive experience with proper workflow, and we want to manage it by exception within to allow customers to manage by exception. Excuse me. An adoption of a native device capabilities and geolocation options that are available to, within a native app wrapper technology. So it's responsive in design, can be deployed on multiple web-based devices. So we want to really extend on that. And as we look into the future, this just gives you an idea of where this is headed. And if we look at this chart, and you'll see this color coding occurring in future slides as well. We've got the prior release items shown in dark blue, 2021 R2 release items shown in yellow, and then future release 2021 R3 in purple, and then so on with the red and green and so on. So as you can see there, this is where we've come from. We've delivered features around receiving and inquiries, movements and adjustments, pick and pack and transfers for ADC in a distribution environment. And then we look at 2021 R3, where we look at directed processes as such. So, directed picking, so work assignment, so, directed put away, being able to propose locations by taking into account logistical constraints instead of proposing a location from a list in ascending order or descending order. So some more clever logic being built into this solution. Transfers, license plate number operations, so being able to assign a license plate number, do stock inquiry by license plate number, stock change by LPN, for instance. So further features you'll see being bedded out within ADC for distribution. And then into shop floor execution for manufacturers. We look forward to the development of manufacturing, which will follow the work we do within ADC for distribution. This will start in 2021 R4, where we look at delivering features around transfers, being able to print documentation and labels in the warehouse, shop floor tracking features, being able to track materials and activities in that shop floor, record operation run times and so on. And then into 2020 R1, where we look at time management of resources in the shop floor, and then being able to easily access real-time information from the shop floor processes as well. So a lot of work to be done, as you can see, but we're looking to deliver that in a very sort of compressed time frame over 2 releases. And then if we look at also now for the project management side, automated billing and processing for project management, we could already bill items through distribution processes or inventory, bill inventory and non-inventory items. In 2020 R4, Project Billing Center was introduced, as you would no doubt be aware, to be able to form a single screen view of what's being done within project and what's still to do from a particular project standpoint. So all this is based on rules defined. We've got the ability to adjust the amount to invoice. Another use case is when we have the billing plan already defined to have the ability to see what will be the next steps in the billing for a particular project. And so with that, we carry on improving and automating the billing process. So we add capabilities on project management to be able to build different steps of a project through project deliverables, schedule invoicing and project milestone billing and project progress. So the next step here is around performance enhancements for cost structure and task planning and such. And with that, I guess the objective here is to improve PJM performance overall. So there'll be a number of features and functions you'll see delivered in future versions. And just on the automated billing process for project, you've got there again, if we look forward to 2021 R3, as I mentioned, support for in the purple there, which runs on from the items that have been delivered, support for time billing, linked to projects, support for recurring billing, support for billing in amount. Billing in amount is where the amount drives the billing instead of the quantity as such. So, a bit of work to be delivered over the next couple of releases to really bed out our billing function within project. I mentioned earlier about new product introduction, a really awesome feature to reduce the risk when developing and launching new products for manufacturers. Obviously, this helps streamline the capture of estimates, provides what-if scenario capability and real-time analysis. So this is certainly a solution that we'll continue to improve on, as you can see here. And therefore, as we can see for prior releases, we've introduced the sandbox, we had real-time costing updates, we can do BOM changes and so forth. And then, in 2021, released to production, the ability to, formulate those BOM estimates and then release them to production. And then also, we look at 2021 R3, we want to be able to manage prototypes, and then also manage multiple submissions and approval cycles, and changes that automatically create new revisions of bills of materials. And so this will be loosely coupled with PJM, as I mentioned before, to allow non-pre-production costs and activities to be managed within NPI. And finally, with that, then we've got when approval for production is given, all relevant product BOM and routes are created in X3 in the production tables. pretty much the same way as they're done today with the configurator. So the features coming down the line on that one. And with that, I guess, there's also, we want to extend the capability of our planning and scheduling capacity management within X3. We saw the introduction of web scheduling a little while back, and so with that, no matter what industry you're in, maximising the use of your available resources is a key critical issue, and this is obviously especially true with very costly multi-access machine centres where you can't afford for the machine to be idle for any particular time, or spending excessive time in setup time or run in setup and cleaning time. So what we're looking to do is introduce the product. We've introduced the product setup matrix that enables the planner to enter the reduced setup times when products with like attributes, as I mentioned before, are run sequentially. And so, web scheduling here really delivers that optimized plan to ensure the resources are employed to maximize efficiency across the workshop. And with that, there's elements here that I'll talk about in a moment around capable to promise and available to promise, which we can certainly look to deliver. The new developments as we look at in future release around first delivering that product to product setup matrix, as I mentioned, and the second development phase integrates additional information from Sage X3 with web scheduling. So as we pass across data on work order components, bill of materials, inventory, and purchase orders, web scheduling builds an MRP style simulation, which enables it to recognize and manage multi-level dependencies. So what this does is this removes the need for iterative MRP, and scheduling runs to fully synchronize all elements in production, as is the case today. So web scheduling itself can then provide a multi-level inventory trend analysis, and this is also known as available to promise as such. And additionally, by allowing users to directly add planned demand work orders as such within the application, users can establish when production can be completed, taking into account all existing work constraints and resources that are available. And so this extends on the ATP aspect, the available to promise aspect, and really delivers to what is known as capable to promise. So how capable are we based on the resources that we have to deliver the products that we can promise to our customers? So that's the next phase, and that's really, really exciting. The other aspect here is around controlled sourcing and distribution. So the vision here is to reduce non-conformance risks by ensuring that changes or introductions to regulatory compliance that are made periodically can be quickly adopted and easily managed with an easily configurable framework. So this is about managing products that can be purchased, products that can be shipped to certain customers, controlled sourcing, and looking at multiple variables combined, such as based on the country of origin, business partner who'd be receiving this particular product, the product and the product family as such, and weights and volumes and quantities of product too. So looking at really bedding out the controlled sourcing aspects of inventory, which is really, really important for our food and beverage and our chemical and nutraceutical organisations that will be relying on these levels of control within the system. So we look at 2022 R1, where there's a bunch of features coming down the pipeline here that really address item master aspects, so product characteristic and industry-specific parameters, country of origin issues, license controls, and then we get into the controlled sourcing aspects, so around executing controlled sourcing during that procurement phase, and then how we manage receipt and put away of those controlled items, and then into 2022 R2, it's a tough one to say, around controlled distribution, so rules-based controls, managing distribution of products, managing pick and pack and process of those controlled items, and obviously documentation that goes along with those. So really important that we bed these features out. And I guess to finish off with, I just wanted to touch on aspects of our ecosystem, the developments there around APIs and our strategy around integration. Obviously, it's very easy to integrate with X3. We very much support the ISVs and that developer ecosystem. It's very much part of our vision going forward. Data integration in the cloud, based on templates and tooling to secure the upload to, I should say, Amazon Cloud and the likes. GraphQL APIs based on TypeScript technology. We use this first within our ADC module, and the next delivery to allow more GraphQL APIs. More of a phase mode, but it's about enabling data integration via those APIs that's simple and secure, but also providing a GraphQL API framework that's simple to use, that's highly functionable, and which allows to build a real-time synchronous responsive application integration with other third-party applications. And this is across obviously all domains, cloud, distribution, manufacturing, and finance. And with that, the idea here is to provide that, as I mentioned, simple to use, secure, and highly functional API framework for those ISV partners of ours, and really bear out that API framework. Looking forward, to deliver those mutation APIs I mentioned before, and to support the new ADC functions and handheld devices that we continue to evolve for distribution and manufacturing, enabling those app developers to read data from X3 quickly and easily, and GraphQL APIs to read, in reading more based on new TypeScript components that will be delivered for both cloud and on-premise deployments as well, and informing app developers that data files have been imported, and with data integration APIs, so tracking service to report on progress of data ingestion as well. So there's a heap of work here that's being done in the background underneath the hood. That's important that we make sure that we extend our ecosystem, but also make it easy, make it secure, make it highly functional, and make X3 highly available for those ISV integrations. On the cloud front, I'll just finish off shortly. I'm cognizant of time here. For those that are obviously considering a move to cloud, please reach out and speak with your MicroChannel team. They do an awesome job with deploying cloud instances of X3, 300 and other applications. Discuss how their service here can help optimize your instance of X3. But obviously bear in mind at a global level, there's a strategy to work towards the delivery of a public cloud offering. When that structure has been complete. So it's a journey as such, whereby components such as that API framework, shared database instances, etc., will be delivered in due course. So a lot of work has been completed to get us to a point where we can start delivering on aspects of that API framework and enabling those partners down the track as we look towards 2022 R1 and then onwards into 2022 R2. And a big part of that is the X3 provisioning portal. It's part of that cloud strategy, which aims to produce a portal for which X3 can be provisioned against, against a designated Amazon Cloud account as such, and that thereby assists partners to deploy customer instances within the cloud, and the benefits for and ongoing management of those instances for ISV integrations, customizations, and the like. So all within the confines of a provisioning portal. But the benefits for customers obviously is that they receive and they remain on the most latest version of Sage X3 in that cloud environment, which is obviously provisioned and ready to go in a very short space of time in the provisioning portal. The benefits to partners for the likes of MicroChannel here is they receive best practice single tenant architecture for X3 that'll be auto provisioned against their subscription in the cloud hosted environment, and supported with regular maintenance and updates delivered by Sage. So just to finish off, last slide here, I just wanted to just show you our 3-year release radar, which is continually updated to reflect the focus areas, as I mentioned, around multi-site wholesale distribution, process and discrete manufacturers, project and contract management, and underpinned by a comprehensive multi-company financials capability at its core. So this is a statement of direction as such, and represents Sage's most current vision and view of where its product is headed. However, in any one of these release milestones and features are subject to change, of course, as we know, with any roadmap, without notice in some cases. But so none of the information should be interpreted as a commitment on the part of Sage, but obviously it's where we need to be within these particular timeframes for continued success. As we start in the middle and at the core, this is our year 1, which is delivered in our 2021 releases, APIs, automated test platform, cumulative patching, web scheduling and ADC. And then we move out into the year 2 horizon, so advanced billing, we look at e-invoicing framework, banking automation and bank feeds, resource management, which is a significant project, further APIs, shop floor data collection, available to promise, capable to promise, as I mentioned. These are all coming, and then further out into year 3, into 2023, where we extend on some of these topics and we look at field service and maintenance and service contracts and other aspects that extend that ecosystem of X3. So a lot of work has been delivered. There's a lot of work to be done, but as you can see, we've got a very clear roadmap for success to make sure that our customers and partners are supported with the best technology available today within Sage X3. So with that, thank you very much, and I'll hand over to Hugo for tips and tricks.
Thank you very much, Bruce. Hi, everyone. And today's tips is just to show you can have the nice landing pages that the users require, but also to have them functional to your requirements. First of all, to make landing pages useful, you need to strike a balance between what is needed for a starting position versus everything that is required for a user, which just means trading off the everything versus the focus. A cluttered landing page with too many options will eventually not be used, and a landing page with queries that take too long to open will also result in user requesting for it to be removed. So especially regarding queries, so you have essentially the same query, the one on the left being normal unposted purchase invoices, and in this scenario, generate a list of 111, which you won't see on your full screen. But if you take a condensed one and group it up a little bit more, then it becomes a bit more useful for multiple sites, and then you can drill down into those items. So just to show how we can then modify our graphical queries and utilize them on our landing pages, I'll just go into graphical queries. So X3 has over 200 graphical queries and standard requesters that ships out of the box. These are all built to give the user the required info for as little effort as possible. But when it gets to a landing page, that same useful query now has unnecessary info, which makes it slower to open, and a screen which gets accessed every time you log in. So we need a condensed view of that to control the focus and get a bit more performance out of it. So if I go to my current graphical query, so by default, the different columns and stuff for graphical queries easily visible what you need. So for us to amend this one, I'll just show how it's easier just to amend. From all our columns that we have available, simply to remove something, you can simply click on your little X's, and let's drop down a couple of these columns that we don't need. So I don't want this one or that. We get a fair bit smaller, and instead of having a simple one-dimensional query, we want to get a bit more summarized. So to summarize these items, we'll simply drag them up a little bit. So now in this scenario, we'll have a 3-level drill down level for this specific query for unposted items being summarized at site level first, then per supplier, and then according to the relevant invoices. So we'll just click summarize for our amount, save that item. And as always, when you create something new, just test your same item to make sure it is actually running the way you want. So in this scenario right now, it will draw down to all 3 levels. I can use my levels, level up and level up, to have a better summarized view. So in this scenario, per site, just giving them the amount for which a user can then drill down into the relevant areas. Okay, so now that you have created your nice summarized view, the idea is to try and get it up to a landing page. Okay, so to make it available, you first have to add it as a dashboard view and as a gadget to make it available for the higher level of Syracuse, and then we're going to need to add it as a menu item. So first of all, we'll go to dashboard views. Let's go to dashboard views. So you already created my dashboard view for this one previously, and in your dashboard view, you also specify which level you want. So in that query that I created, we had 3 levels. So I want it to be defaulting onto level number 1. After you create your dashboard view, you can create your gadget so it's available for your higher level. And again, I try and keep a consistency for my codes so it's easier to try and find. So I create my gadget by simply naming my relevant requester that we created in there. After you have that, then we go and create a menu item. So the menu items is on the Syracuse level, so it's available for use there. So we'll have a normal standard requester that would have been available as a menu item already created, and then I would just go and create an additional one, and I name it so that I can later find all my custom items that we have found. So also with specifying in your menu item, just go into it, just reinforce which level your query is going to open up into, and you can also specify when you try and find your relevant items where to try and go and search for it. So just showing for this item that I created, being my ZCPT, I'll go into my home pages, go and find my landing page that I had open right at the start, go edit, so edit page content. So I get into an editing mode, and to add an additional item in there, go to my page, select the plus icon there. In this scenario, I want a query. I want to select it from my financials area and unposted documents, because that's where I linked it to, and it is my condensed view. So I'll click that, say OK, and immediately my new query becomes available. Right? So very nice and easy, and obviously a query. Let's just remove that one first. So we only have the 2 on the screen. For all queries that's available, this one reads a lot easier than that one. And also, there's a fair difference in how long a certain query takes to populate versus one that has a whole lot of lines. Okay. Now, similar being for process flows. There's a couple of custom standard process flows on the screen, but you can expand on these and tailor a bit more to specific user profiles. And like all things in life, adding a bit of color and custom personalization to something makes a bit more of a bit of an uptake for users to try and utilize these items. For process flow, again, the key is use less versus more, because if it's too cluttered, users aren't going to try and use it, and they're going to get confused anyway by too many options. I always try and strive to give them, for relevant to that user's work, to give them a full flow of how their tasks that they comply with need to flow through the business, so they can give a better vision of the bigger business in total. Okay. so now we'll just go to one of these process flows that I utilized previously. I'll show how easy it is then to amend to these. One process flow to add whatever icons and pictures on it. So first of all, let's remove that background picture. And to add brand new pictures and whatever pictures you have available. So it's not predetermined pictures. This is just what I have available for me. So I want that splash icon. Get that in there. Try and paste it and make it as big as possible for whatever I deem fancy. All your relevant, I just get that one back to the front. Send that one to the back. For my icons and stuff that I have available. So all these icons that you have, you can link these items to anything in the system. So you can add it to a specific X3 function, a link to another query, a link to a report, even a URL in the system. All right. You have also a whole lot of custom icons to make a bit more personalized. So whatever, and like I said again, each one of these icons then you can link to whatever function you prefer. So, and again, similar to the queries that we have, you first have to make it available as a gadget and then as a menu item for it to be available on that relevant landing page. So I'll just go out of that. So now in this scenario, I already added this one to my gadget and my menu items. So if we just go to the home page again, then we can see. So now for me to add another home page, I can just go to the home pages again on my relevant one. So in this scenario, I want a new page. I want a process. Let's look at that one. It's okay. It becomes available in my new tab. I can rename my tab. Easy. So now that being there, it's easy as that, and your home page is done, and the users can flow between the different items. Another tip there is for users, rather have your default landing page on your process flow. Screens just open up a little bit quicker versus queries. But if your queries is more of the condensed fashion, then it'll be nice and easy and quick to open up as well. And as easy as that, you can have users get a bit more fun and practicality out of their screens with a bit more performance as well. Thank you, everyone.